Hey guys, welcome back to the Parkerverse. This week, after a long break, I finally bring you guys another one in the series on how you can go from beginner to pro using KWGT widgets. And this time, we're once again going to be looking at KWGT battery widgets, building upon everything we covered on episode 4. So make sure to check it out after this. But before we get started, if you like this video and want to see more just like this, make sure you like and subscribe to help support the channel. And don't forget to submit your live wallpaper and home screen requests right from within the Epic Live Wallpaper app. Just head to the live section and then click on the request button. And remember to boost your favorite ones using both the heart and the booster buttons here. So here we are with episode 6 in the series, and this time we're going to be looking at these 3 unique battery widgets. Starting with a basic Zelda themed widget, followed by a circular orb look, and finally finishing things off with a Squid Games inspired rotating repositioning widget. And for those of you who want even more widget ideas, make sure to check out the previous episodes where we covered weather widgets, custom clocks, and even the basics of KWGT. I'll leave a link for each one in the video description below. Now let's jump right into it with the Zelda inspired hearts. So let's start by loading in the KWGT layout to our home screen, and then we want to resize it so it looks something like this. And of course, a little bit bigger if you want to keep more than 5 hearts on screen. Now within KWGT, we're going to start by first clicking here to create a new canvas. Next, using the plus button in the top right corner, we're going to add in a new overlap group. This will help manage the rest of our widget items. Now let's head into the group and add in our hearts once again by using the plus button. However, surprisingly, instead of using multiple shape items to create our hearts, we're going to use a single font icon. The benefit of this is that you literally have access to hundreds of alternative shapes, not just the hearts. Saying that, for this tutorial, make sure to change the set to in typo, after which, within the icon section, you'll be able to find the heart shapes. Now once you've made the change, let's head back up, and while still within the overlap group, we want to use the positioning tab to move the whole group all the way to the left of our screen. Now let's duplicate the heart. From the item tab, we want to use the tick boxes to select our heart, and then simply hit copy and paste to add in a second one. Next, we're simply going to head into it, and using its positioning tab, we want to move it a couple steps to the right. Now, as you probably already guessed, we're going to repeat these steps 3 more times, copy and pasting the heart item, and then repositioning them into place. So at the end of it, we have a total of 5 hearts all lined up perfectly. Now, to get them to indicate your battery level, let's head on back up outside of the overlap group, and once again using the plus button, this time we're going to add in a new progress item, which by default is already set up to show your phone's battery level, which means that we just need to head into it and start by first altering its color, first for the foreground to a neon pink, and then the background to a dark gray. Just simply apply both the color codes on screen here. And once done, let's head over to the style tab and adjust both its size and height so it perfectly overlaps all 5 hearts. And to help with this, make sure to also use the positioning tab to recenter the whole bar itself. And finally, within the color tab, we're going to change its filter from normal to multiply. And there you have it, a Zelda inspired battery widget. Just make sure to hit save before you leave. Next up, this orb shaped indicator. This widget is simply made up of 2 separate KWGT items. So once we've loaded up a new canvas to our home screen, we're going to start by adding a new shape to our canvas, which by default is set to being a square. However, we can simply head into it and change it to our desired circle. Now, let's simply increase its size. For this example, I'm going to set this to 160. And finally, for the shape, we're going to change the color to black. Now the second item in this widget is simply a battery progress bar. Now simply as we did in the first widget, we're going to use the plus button to add it in. Now here, with this item, we're first going to head into the style tab and change it from that linear look to a circular one. After which, to get this almost pie chart like look, we need to make sure that we set both the size and height to the exact same number. After which, just like we did in the first widget, we're going to use the color tab to change both the foreground and background colors. Now as some of you may have already noticed, the battery bar is actually emptying backwards, in other words, anti-clockwise. To fix this, within the progress tab, we want to make sure to set its rotation from none to 3D flip across the y-axis. Now simply adjust the slider 180 degrees, and there you have the circular orb widget. Now for the third and final battery indicator from the set, inspired by the Netflix Squid Game, is this rotating repositioning widget, where you can set the shapes to rotate every second, minute or even hour that passes, and as well as the colored battery level indication, the shapes of this widget actually move according to your phone's battery level. So with a full charge, you get the Squid Game's iconic card shape layout, and as your phone depletes, the shapes magnetically intersect. To create this, just simply start by loading in another KWGT layout to your home screen, and then, same as before, open up a brand new canvas. Now here, using the plus button, we're going to add in a new shape item, which we're going to turn from the default square into a circle. After which, we're going to use the width option to increase its size to something that better fits our canvas. Here, I'm going to set it to 140. After which, let's head over to the paint tab, where we want to set the style from fill to stroke, and setting the stroke size to 15, giving us that nice outline look. So this is going to be the basic settings that we're going to use for all three of our shapes. So let's repeat these steps 2 more times, once for the triangle and again for the square. After which, you should have something that looks like this, with all 3 shapes overlapping each other. Now, let's make the shapes automatically reposition. So starting at the top with the circle, let's head into its positioning tab, and using the tick boxes, we want to select the X offset option. And then click on the calculator button in the top right of the screen. Now this is going to allow us to add in our own custom formula. So just enter this here, linking your phone's battery level to a max repositioning of -220. Now to keep things symmetrical, we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time for the square shape itself. And instead of putting -220, we're going to set it to a positive. And of course, depending on your widget's canvas size, feel free to change that 220 to any number you want. Next up, the battery level indicating color scheme. For this, just like in the previous widgets, we're once again going to load in a new progress item, which we're then going to resize to cover all of the shapes. Just keep in mind while resizing, because we want to empty from the top down, make sure to head to the progress tab and set the rotation to 270 degrees. Now unlike the previous 2 widgets of this tutorial, we're going to use the black color to indicate the charge level, the neon pink to show the empty amount. And as you probably already guessed, we're also going to change the filter from normal to multiply. Additionally, some of you may have already noticed that the battery progress bar is actually hanging over the edges themselves, both at the top and bottom of the canvas. This is simply because as the shapes rotate, we want to make sure that they keep to the color schemes of the progress bar. However, sadly, this does mean that the first and last 10% of the battery indicator won't be shown on screen. Now, let's set up the rotating shapes. Here, for this example, we're only going to apply it to the triangle and square items. So just make sure to head into both of them and first set their rotation option to manual. After which, once again using the tick boxes, we want to select the offset option and then click on the calculator button. After which, just use one of these 3 formulas here, rotating the shape every second, minute or hour. At this point, it's totally up to you. But if you do decide to use the seconds, then additionally, make sure to head to the KWGT Advanced Settings option and change the update settings from the default to fast. However, keep in mind, because this does increase the refresh rate, this will also increase your phone's battery usage. If you like this video and want to see more just like this, make sure you like and subscribe to help support the channel. And make sure you check out my other Android customization videos. See you next time on Into the Parkerverse.